I want us to do the things that we supposed to do and hear those things. That ought to make you say, wow, okay. Okay. Whether it be in the middle of the week, whether it be the weekend, but the first thing that comes out of your mouth, I'm tired. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want you to touch me. I don't want you to do this or do that to me. So I'm going to I'm not gonna let it happen. But see, that's unfair. That's unfair. Now, I understand that ladies have good days and they have bad days, just like men do too. You know, it's the same way. It ain't always on the woman's side. The men do the same thing. A lot of times they be like, hey, I don't want to, don't touch me. Things like that. That's disrespectful. The one thing that you never want to do inside your marriage is have a disrespectful marriage. To disrespect each other, privately or publicly. Especially publicly. I've seen so many men disrespect their wife, and y'all just don't know. I wanted to say something, but it wasn't my place, because if you don't welcome me in, I ain't coming in. If you don't welcome me into your marriage or ask me to sit down and talk with you and your wife, that's not what I do. That's not what I do. What I do is I have to be welcome. I have to get an invitation inside your marriage. But see, a lot of people don't think they need no help in their marriage. They don't need no outside advice. We got this. So you don't force yourself on anybody. But if your marriage is totally disrespected, come on. If your marriage is totally disrespected, then it might need some outside help, professional help. Somebody can give you good sound advice. And I'm gonna tell you something, somebody that can be neutral inside of there. Somebody that can be neutral. I don't care if I know you, we're gonna be neutral. We're gonna be neutral. We're gonna be neutral inside the marriage. Yeah. So, you know, the thing about it, always try to avoid disrespect in the marriage to each other. Like I said, to go over the things like I said, cheating, calling each other out of their names, not spending enough time. All these things that I've already talked about can, and see, let me tell you something. Again, disrespecting a marriage will destroy a marriage a lot of times. Disrespecting each other, arguing with each other. I know couples, that's a lot of times they have more peace separate from each other than they do together. They have more peace separate from each other than they do together, and that's not a good thing. Some people dread their spouse coming home. That sounds funny, but it's the truth. Some people dread their spouse coming home. And I'm going to tell you something, a lot of times when you're getting married, and this is for people just getting married, number one, lay out what you want. If you're saying, hey, I'm that husband that want a meal cooked every day when I get home, or their wife says, I want you to greet me. So, some people come in the house, some people will come in the house and they won't even say hi to each other. I've had that habit. Some people won't even ask their spouse, how was your day? You know, because they dread them coming home. They dread them coming home. They're like, oh Lord. They sitting there, you know, it might be they off day or they on vacation or something. Like me, I'm retired. Now, I love to see my wife come home. I love to see my wife come home. Me and my wife been together 20 years. I love to be around my wife. I love spending time with my wife. Does she Do I get upset with her sometimes? Yes. Do she get upset with me sometimes? Yes. But I could tell you this much: even though we don't have the perfect marriage, we know how to sit down and talk with each other and go and get things taken care of inside of our marriage. Has it always been like that? No. It takes time. It takes time. We try not to get upset with each other. Now, other things might make us upset, but we try not to get upset about things that's going to make us upset. We're gonna try to stay away from arguments. We're gonna try to stay away from disagreements, because again, that disrespects the marriage. Again, I said that disrespects the marriage. Yeah. It does. It really does. And when it does, it becomes a problem. When your marriage, and I said this before, when your marriage becomes unhealthy, if your marriage started off as a 10 and it goes all the way down to just say a 5, you got work to do. You still got work to do, even if it goes under a 10. If your marriage is a 9 or 8, it's still work to do, but it's even more work to do if your marriage is a 5. There are some things that's truly wrong, and you might end up going the wrong direction because there are some things truly wrong. If I sat around with a couple, the one question I would ask them: if you rated your marriage from 1 to 10, what would it be? And I pray to God nobody says a 1 or a 2. It's prayer time. It's prayer time. And I might not even ask you why your marriage is a 1 or a 2 or even a 5. But I will tell you that whatever it is, it's some work to be done. It's some work to be done. Ladies and gentlemen, it's some work to be done. But the thing about it, here's the thing. You got to keep working as you going. If you say, I want to keep my marriage healthy, if your marriage is sick, you got to do stuff to get it well. I said this before. If your marriage is sick, okay, when a person's sick, they're going to do some things to make themselves better. Okay? They're either going to they're going to go see the doctor, they're going to go they may go to the ER, they might go to urgent care, they might go to the pharmacy at Walgreens, Walmart to see what can they do to help them get better. That's the same way with your marriage. When your marriage is sick, when your marriage is disrespected, you have to do things because now it's apart, you got to do things to pull it back together. You got to do some things to pull it back together. When your marriage is disrespected, it's going to tear, it's going to come apart. Have you ever seen a rip that started? Or even better, have you ever seen a crack in your windshield in your car? And eventually, if you don't fix it, it begins to get even worse. It begins to spread across the windshield. And so that's the same way with your marriage. If your marriage is disrespected, it's starting to tear. And so what begins to happen is, when it begins to tear, you have to learn that you got to fix that. Fix that. If you got a hole in one of your pants, you got to fix that, or it's going to get worse. Yeah. That's the same way. If you say, okay, I cannot keep my marriage cannot keep being disrespected, then guess what? There are some things that need to happen so that can go away. There are some avenues, there are some components, there are some things that we need to do. If it's communication failure, we need to do that. If it's not getting along failure, we need to do that. We need to fix that. I'm telling you, if a husband and wife is sitting at home and they can't stand to look at each other, that needs to cease. I remember when me and my wife used to get mad at each other, it would be so funny because I just believe that God was saying, okay, until y'all talk, until y'all communicate, here's what I'm going to do. Watch this. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do everything where y'all cross paths, where, we might be in the kitchen at the same time. We might cross each other in the hallway. And again, let me tell you something. Me, about us, even though when we were mad at each other, we still lay in the same bed together and go to sleep. But, it was a time where we it's still, you could see that division inside that marriage. Shouldn't be. There should be no division. There should be unity in the marriage. When you get married, there is a unity candle that you and your wife light together. There's a unity candle. There is a unity candle that y'all light together because, guess what? You guys are together now. You guys are one. So I'm telling you, people don't think they need to talk. And see, here's the thing. You talk about things so it don't get to a point where it's too late to talk. You talk about things inside your marriage that needs to be talked about before it's too late. The boat is going to do something when it see a storm coming so it don't crash, that it don't get tore apart, that people don't get hurt. They're going to do preventive maintenance. They're going to do preventive maintenance to keep that boat from getting destroyed. That's the same way you got to do with your marriage. You have to do preventive maintenance to keep your marriage from being destroyed. So if you don't do anything or put any work in and stop the disrespect and get rid of the disrespect, then guess what? Guess what? You're going to rip that marriage apart. But if you say, okay, I'm not going to call her out her name, we're going to start talking more and less arguing, we're going to stop ignoring each other, we're going to start saying, okay, and here's the thing I want married couples to understand. Here's the thing I want you to understand. A lot of times you got to understand this, day by day. One thing first, the second thing. So you say, okay, this week we're going to work on when we see each other. Hey, honey, glad to see you. Hey, honey, I love you. Sending each other text messages. Calling each other, say, I didn't want nothing. I was just calling to tell you I love you. Even further, sending gifts to the job. Sending flowers or send a teddy bear or send, they have the edible flowers with different fruit on them. Candy, or when you get home, if you're the first person home, you have a dinner set up, and all these things that now you're fixing the rip. You're fixing the rip. Sometimes you might have to be the bigger person and say, you know what? I'm sorry for the way that I acted. Can I get a hug? Can I get a kiss? And things like that. I'm sorry. Sometimes we don't want to do that. But we're trying to fix. We're trying to keep the marriage strong. We're trying to keep disrespect. And the one thing that really would hurt is that when that spouse says, okay, instead of saying, I forgive you, I understand. Or give you the hug, you say, well, can I get a hug? And they say, no, not right now. Wow. That hurts. That disrespectful. A lot of people might disagree, but that's disrespectful. To say to your spouse that, no, not right now. No, ma'am. No, sir. Get over it. Hey, let's go for a ride and we're going to go grab something to eat and we're going to talk about this thing. Hey, let's go do a picnic. Hey, let's go to a baseball. Hey, let's go to the drive. Hey, let's go do these things. Because what you're trying to do is mend that rip. Keep it from going any farther. You know, you want to tell your spouse, and I know nobody's perfect, but you want to say to your spouse, you know what? I'm going to do some things where I won't disrespect you. And please, and it works both ways. I'm not going to call you out of your name. The things that I'm going to say to you, I'm going to think before I say it. It's just like, okay, you say to your wife, hey, you just fat for no reason. That's disrespectful. Or you say to your wife, you stupid. Well, I don't know why I married you. You're just stupid. I don't know why I'm around you. Really, you shouldn't say that. That hurts. That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. You starting to look real old for your age. That's disrespectful. And that hurts. Or you embarrass her or you embarrass him in front of other people. You be like, hey, babe, let's go get something to eat. Man, get out of my face. And the other person standing there like, wow. It happens. I heard a guy tell his wife one time, you don't come up out of there, I'm going to leave you. You're going to be standing here because I'm finna go. You're going to leave your wife? You're going to leave your husband? Really? That's disrespectful. And what a lot of people don't understand is the other component to that is that your children are right there soaking this in. Understand that. The children are soaking this in. They're soaking this in. I'm not doing it. You're not doing it. You're not doing it. You want me to do it, but you're not doing it. Yeah. You have to understand, and those are the things that you have to respect and all that and more. Y'all, I'm going to get out of here and all that. I've had fun, and I hope that I was able to help somebody with what I was saying. To God be the glory for each and every one of you all. And, because he's the only one, y'all. He's the only one. He's the only one. Stay in prayer in your marriage. Stay with prayer in your marriage. Keep your marriage strong and stay in prayer. Get a nice church home. Get something out of the church home. All that church should have a marriage ministry and all that. You should be able to go to your leadership